in a big storm situation, emergency situation, communications is vital.
Right.
But yeah, we monitor these weather conditions.
Well, and two, I mean, you did bring this storm kit in, and I'm having, for some reason, my doc sheet isn't opening today, which is completely okay because, all of this is so important. And, being prepared, like you said, and having that communication has got to be just essential for families, too, to make sure that they're safe when anything could happen at a moment's notice. So what did you exactly bring with you today?
You know what? I brought a boatload of stuff, but
there's an absolute bucket load behind her.
But I only wanted to set a few things out just as a display. But I like to remind our customers, in being prepared for emergencies, there are some things you may not think about. Water. I mean, just some good old H2O. It's one of the most important things to have. We suggest having a couple of gallons on hand, basically, for each person. Have some for the puppy, have plenty of water. If nothing else liquid to drink, have your water. Have a blanket. A blanket is important, because it just depends. I mean, storms don't always occur in the middle of the summer.
Right.
Have some battery operated lights, some type flashlights. I have this really cool LED light, lantern, but have them make sure the batteries work.
Is bright.
It's an LED light, of course.
Oh, reminds me of those car lights.
Yeah, have some things like that. Have some cash on hand, CJ. We tell our customers always have some cash on hand because guess what? If the power's out, the ATMs are probably not going to be working. The banks are not going to be in service.
Yeah. Well, and how much cash on hand anymore do you guys recommend, do you think?
Well, I do, and because I have a storm kit as well as at my house, so I have lots of small bills in there. Keep loose change. It just depends. I mean, a good rule of thumb is if you can have $20 plus. Let's say you need a bag of ice, or heaven forbid you didn't fuel your vehicle ahead of the storm,
right?
And now all of a sudden you're going to the local filling station or the convenience store with a gas station. The good news is they're most likely going to have a generator, which is fantastic, but most likely the internet is going to be down. So in order for you to make any sort of a transaction, you're going to need cash. So the smaller the bills, the better. But if you have the ability to keep, $25, $30 on hand, it's probably a good rule of thumb.
Well, and on top of that, too, I'm sure, I hate to say it, but what happens if we're driving home and the storm breaks out? Should we have something like this in our car? I mean,
we should.
What's that look like? If we can compact this down, should we have the same exact kit in our vehicle? Should it be anything? Can we take anything out of it, or should it all be right back, duplicated almost?
Well, I'm going to say that I keep a safety kit in my car. There are storm boots in it, of course. Well, I work storm duty, but a storm kit, a blanket, some non-perishable food items, water for sure. Even a tool, work gloves. Keep all of that in your car as well, because you never know. Like you said, we could be driving home from work.
Well, and that's just such an important thing to talk about, because, you never know whenever especially if it's tornado season, where those suckers are going to turn. And what are we pulling out of there now?
Okay, I'm not going to blow it, but I'm not going to blow it in here. But I mean, it's important to have one of these in your car and your home. It's a signal horn.
I have an Italian family, hon. We don't need one of those. So that is, but
yeah, my family's pretty loud too. But anyway, have one in your car, in your safety kit in your home, because what if you're buried?
Well, and that's a big thing. And see, that's what I wanted to ask too. What does Ameren recommend? I know we always say like the basement and all of that, but or get away from windows, or where is the safest point? Because that's where I always find myself a little bit fearful is, being buried underneath rubble. You see those photos and videos of folks in Tornado Alley, and that's kind of alarming.
So you're lucky because you're in the basement right now. So and for anybody who has a basement, obviously that is the safest place to go in buildings. A lot of times you want to go into, say, the stairwell, because those are always, at least in my opinion, watching any construction site, are the very first things that are constructed. So they have a lot of concrete, and there are places that are safe. For people who don't have, a basement, I've actually been in a situation with my wife before. We were at a wedding, in southern Missouri, and we were staying at a hotel on the first floor, and sirens were going off, and they were telling everybody to go in the hallway, and they wanted people to sit out front. Well, there was glass windows everywhere. So what I did is I just took the bedspread off the bed, and we laid in the tub and laid down, and then we covered ourselves with the blanket and waited because we were below anything, and we're going to use the towel to help protect ourselves. So you just got to know your situation. In most homes, it would be the bathroom. But if you know a storm is coming and you don't have a basement, it might be good to call family and friends and just get yourself out of harm's way and go stay in a basement.
How does Ameren communicate during times of destruction? If truly like the worst case scenario comes in and you have a widespread storm that causes severe damage, do you guys have a pretty good emergency response and communication base with your customers?
I would let Paula take that. Just kind of walk them through what your particular role is, and when you talk to critical customers and local officials.
So you stepped right on my toe, CJ. I'm the community relations liaison with all of our critical infrastructure, our community leaders, legislators, our key account people. I go out, I speak with customers. I start calling them before the storm actually hits. Really? And I let them know, hey, Ameren's prepared. If this storm hits like it says it's going to hit and it impacts our communities, then you've got my number. I also collaborate with our emergency management services, the Illinois emergency, the IEMA group, each emergency management group in each community. So communication that's number one in these situations. Safety is number one, and then I'm going to say communication.
So when you're is it like, we like almost one of those like West Wing episodes where like they're kind of huddled up and you guys are kind of on the phone going, hey, we are ready for this or we're prepared. Is that kind of what it looks like in a way? Well,
first, there's me.
Yeah.
There's me. There's a group of me. There are a number of other people with my title around the our service territory. So we make the first outreach and just let them know we're ready. But when you say huddled up in a room, you're talking about our war room. Yeah. Right. And I'll let Brian go more on that because he's like chomping at the bit.
He is.
This is exciting stuff. I'm telling you.
No. It's not about what I do in this role. But the other thing that she does, CJ, that's really interesting and important to your viewers and whoever's listening is that Paula at sometimes would be with the folks from St. Clair County or with Madison County in terms of them having their own war room. Talk about how you're actually boots on the ground and you're communicating on the phone, and so she's there with the key stakeholders.
So I talk to them prior to an event, and then once the event hits, then I'm boots on the ground for sure. That's not just a line dance. I am boots on the ground. I go out with our, as Brian just stated, with our emergency managers, and I don't know if you've seen the big mobile units that they have or not, but I have a seat on those. Wow. And on Madison County with Fred Patterson, St. Clair County with Herb Sim, I have a seat on those mobile units. And I love Herb. I've worked with him for years. And, he wants to know. He's like, Paula, can you call operations and see this? So I'm that liaison. And whatever they need to know, I'm going to get them the information from the Ameren, Illinois folks.
Well, okay. And see, that's really, I think, just so fascinating about this whole thing is because, we get grumpy when our power goes out, but it sounds exciting, but when you're in times of, it's exciting now to talk about it, but when you're in the moment and you're, dealing with an F3 that just rips through, any sector, look what happened to Edwardsville and how quickly you guys had to just assemble and get things going because that was a major infrastructure crisis. That's gotta be, you have to be so calm and really just trained to handle those circumstances. I would have to imagine.
Absolutely. Whether it's us or, the people who have the critical job of putting the infrastructure back up into the air. So in that case, with the tornadoes that came through Edwardsville, Paula, talk a little bit about, and then we can talk about restoration in a second, but talk again about the importance of, CJ, if you ever need to get in touch with a mayor, she's the person.
Do I need to look at your cell phone, Paula?
It's top secret.
I mean, seriously, that's another critical role.
It is.
How many of the mayors actually reach out to Paula first to figure out what's going on?
Actually, at the height of the storm, I'm getting calls from mayors. I have mayors. I have all of their cell phone numbers in my phone because I can't get them at the office, of course. So, we're normally at dinner or something when these situations occur. But I speak with each community leader, whether it's the city manager, the mayor, whoever I have a direct contact with. They have my number. I don't just have their number, but they have my number as well.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I got to know about this war room.
Doesn't it sound intriguing?
So the war room can be a very interesting place. So we will have, and it just depends on where the eye of the storm is. So we've been changing our model and getting smarter and smarter with every storm. It used to be we would set up a war room in Decatur, and they would do everything from logistics to, hey, you need to be on circuit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this community, and you need to be on this circuit in this community here. Well, what we've done recently with the storms is we've kind of regionalized that. So if there's one here in the River Bend area, we may just set up an incident command center right here and have the war room either in, say, Alton, where we have one of our operating centers, or in Maryville here in the Madison County area. And in that war room, you will have engineers, you will have operations folks, you will have Paula if she's available, or if she's in talking with the mayors. And what that war room is, it's designed to we first determine the scope of the damage. Somebody will be dedicated to calling in extra resources. Somebody will be dedicated, hey, we need to bring in a mobile substation. We need somebody, if it's going to be a multi-day event, we need one person dedicated to getting food for everybody who's working. We need somebody who's dedicated to getting hotel rooms for everybody who's here. We need somebody who's dedicated if people are going to have laundry done. So it really almost becomes like a little mini military operation.
Brian, don't forget our storm trailer.
Yeah, yes, correct.
We also, in our incident command center, we talk about where that storm trailer is going to be strategically located. And when I say a storm trailer, I'm talking a mobile warehouse of all the tools that would be needed to restore a community, basically.
Well, that is so fascinating. I mean, because to me, it just shows the operation of you guys. I mean, truly, to be able to sit there and have this where, I mean, you're basically Stratcom, and then you bring out a mobile warehouse to have, I'm sure it has jaws of life and power tools on, or some type of cutting device on there to get through things. But it has things you need to get through the day. And that's what I find fascinating, to really get the community back up and running as quickly as possible.
I like to think of it almost as a beacon. Yeah. So if you're an outside person, even if you're coming from another part of the state of Illinois, or maybe we're in the River Bend area and you're coming from our Belleville operating center, you really don't know the lay of the land in the River Bend area because you don't work there. So what we do is we work with an area like a local Walmart or a big box store, and we say, hey, can we take up a portion of your parking lot? Then we'll call in security. We'll have somebody there to monitor all of the equipment and the trailer while it's there. And then that becomes, like I said, that beacon. So instead of trying to figure out where where Oakwood is here in Alton, where is our operating center, we just say, plug in your GPS, go to this big box store, wherever we're using it. Then they say this big trailer, and then the trailer is designed to have enough components in it to restore roughly I think it's like 1,000 customers, but it's designed that more than 200 individuals can go in and get the necessary supplies that they need. We have cross arms underneath, and just tons and tons of stuff.
So what is the biggest storm that you two have had to face?
We've had some big ones over the years.
I mean, for me, it's easy, and it's one that kind of helped us change the way we look at storms. And that was the one kind of at the end of, the summer of 2006. It was the one where it was July 19th and 21st. I remember that like it was yesterday. We had a storm that blew in from the east on the 19th and took down, we had more than 1 million customers out on both sides of the river.
Oh, my God.
And we did tremendous work in getting people restored within the first day and a half. And then we had a second storm blow in on the 21st from the opposite direction. And what happened is we had additional customers down, but a lot of what was originally put back up in the air was blown down again. And I'm talking, I just remember specifically driving on, I think it's 162 in Glen Carbon, and the amount of poles that were down along that stretch was something I'd never seen in my entire career. So that for me, but that's what really helped us change the way we do things logistically. We really made our tree trimming more robust after that storm. We already had a good tree trimming program, but we really, added more money to the budget, and that was the game changer for me.
You know what? My first huge storm that I remember, and again, I mentioned that I'm one of a team of 6. There's one of me in each region across our service territory. So if it's something really huge, we go and support our counterparts, our teammates in other areas. So I remember a storm came through Carbondale, the Marion area. That was the inland hurricane, I believe it was called.
The derecho is what they eventually.
Derecho, yes. And I remember that, and there was mass destruction, yes, across the whole area. So I remember that, and building up to subsequent storms, I think that's what's changed our processes and improved our processes even.
Wow. It's just fascinating. You guys got a moment to stick around?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We'll pay a quick bill. Hey, we'll come back with more Daily Show at 9:21, a little bit of change. More Daily Show on this Tuesday morning, right after this in the heart of the 618.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. osfoncall.org/virtual visit.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, Free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Linux system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Brant Walker knows how to get results for Alton because he's done it. As Mayor, Brant froze the property tax levy and balanced the budget. His economic development policy stimulated $116 million in private capital investment. Community policing and increased resources for public safety led to a decrease in crime. And under Brant Walker's leadership, Alton secured more than $10 million in extra grant funds for infrastructure and park improvements. Move Alton forward with Brant Walker.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Oh, always. I'm a big Jeff Lynne guy. Big Jeff Lynne guy. He was just in St. Louis, worth every bit of the money. Ah, great. Sorry, ELO talking. Welcome back, Daily Show. 9:25, a little bit of change on this Tuesday morning. Back with Paula. It is Tuesday, isn't it?
It is.
This election has just got me kind of 6 ways to Sunday. Paula and Brian back in studio. We're talking storm preparedness, and also just a little bit about what Ameren does to go above and beyond during emergency scenarios. And Paula, we were talking a little bit about some of the storm kit. You have a ton of other things in there, but really, when it comes down to the necessities, let's just kind of go back to basics. What does Ameren Illinois really represent and ask of folks to do in terms of those emergency situations? How do we get prepared? The kind of general, 10-step, program for us to kind of go by, if you will.
Well, as we've been talking about the past few minutes, having that storm kit in place is paramount. Mm-hmm. But when I say having it in place, have it in a place where your entire family member knows where members,
no secrets.
Because, no secrets here, be totally transparent. Hey, if I can't get to it and you can, it's in the closet under the steps, wherever you keep your storm kit, let them know. I also like to remind customers to keep, and I'm not going to take anything else out, I promise, but I just wanted to say, I like to remind customers to keep some identification. Yeah. Keep any of your important documents that you think that you might need and you won't be able to get to if the house is, in disarray. Keep them in a plastic bag or a plastic folder.
That brings up a bigger point too for me is the family side of things, because what happens if, you never know in the Midwest when weather can change sometimes, and if, your daughter or son is out, at a friend's house playing, hanging out, playing soccer, whatever you want to do, and this storm hits, how important is it to have like a family emergency plan whenever something gets tough? Maybe the family's separated. How do we get back to center here if destruction strikes?
Most certainly.
Yeah. So, you're right. A plan is definitely the most important thing to do, and you should talk about it, regularly. I tie in a lot of things to when we have to spring forward and when we have to fall back. Spring forward is a good time to refresh your kit. It's also a great time to go over that plan with your family. So if you are separated, here's what we need to do. You want to make sure all of your electronic devices are first and foremost, that they're fully charged. So, if you're able to, if there still is internet service, obviously you want to be able to text back and forth, but you want to be able to have that plan. So if, you've got the teenagers who are out who have just played soccer, obviously you want that whoever is watching you or is supposed to be the adult or the guardian here, follow their emergency plan and do everything that they say. And then when the time is right, yes, there'll be a little bit of chaos, but eventually in the aftermath, you'll be able to assess the damage. Power lines will be, de-energized. Then you can probably pick up the phone and call, or maybe you're able to, eventually drive over. But the goal here is if you're out and about and you're not with your family, follow that other family's emergency plan.
That's a big one. And, how does Ameren identify themselves whenever they're coming to a site? Because, you never know, especially with what we saw in California with those people that were just going in and stealing from people and saying they were emergency responders. Does Ameren have a way to identify that for folks to know? It sounds like and I know it's like, wearing the badge and stuff, but is it just a certain protocol you have that kind of just, there's just key identifiers?
So I'll go ahead and take that, Paula. So yes, so obviously, you can have a badge. We're going to have on all of our, protective equipment on us, our personal protective equipment. But, scam artists can do just about anything that they want to do. So here's a rule of thumb. In an emergency situation, it's going to be slightly more difficult because we always tell people one of the things that we don't do is we just don't show up unannounced, that we're going to call you and let you know that, hey, we are coming to, do this routine repair. But in an emergency situation, we're there to get we're going to patrol first. We call it bird dog, making sure, we see where the damage is. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, it's your instincts as a customer. Not a lot of people, hopefully, are going to pretend that they're going to be a lineman or a gas coworker. But, if somebody's in your yard and you just don't feel comfortable, ask them, take a second to leave. And the safest thing that you can always do, and Paula will agree with me, is if someone is in your yard and you don't know who they are, You can call 911 to report them. But if it's someone who says that they're an Ameren employee, the best thing to do is call 1-800-755-5000, talk to somebody in customer service. They can get a hold of somebody in operations and go, you know what, CJ, yes, we are on your street. It's because of the storm. Yes, we are going to make repairs, but we're not going to come out during the storm and tell you that we're going to turn your gas off or your electric off because you're behind in payments, which did happen back in the January story down south. We had people who were actually following up, and we did a whole campaign on a couple of individuals saying, we're going to shut your natural gas off now because you're behind. And we're not going to do that in an emergency situation.
And see, that's why I bring that up, though, because, I mean, for all the good that you all do, there's just the folks that really do prey on the times of tragedy, and it just shows their true character. But it's just important to know that how you guys really do think of all these things. And it's fascinating because we know you as Ameren, and it's funny because you guys are such a massive company, but we see your vehicles so much and see your linemen and know your linemen from our neighborhoods and everything else that it doesn't feel that way, so when you hear the nucleus at work about emergency management and working with IEMA and city mayors and village operators, it's just really fascinating to me that all this goes into just one potential circumstance. How do you guys keep your staff and linemen safe during all this? Because I'm sure that they're, your first responders to getting this rebuild going is essential. Do you guys have any protocols for them to follow that's kind of interesting?
So, and feel free to jump in, Paula. So one of the things, especially during a storm, obviously we have safety protocols that we go through. But more importantly, when we bring in outside individuals to come in, I mean, we actually sit down with them, and before they're even allowed to start a job, we run through all of our protocols, and we know which companies follow our protocols. And in a big storm, we've actually let contractors go who have, did some things that didn't follow our safety protocols. While it may not look so hot to a group of people when you see like 5 trucks from the state of Ohio leaving, but if they're not following our safety protocol, not only are they putting themselves at risk, but they're also putting people down the lines who are working on the project at risk.
And that's even a bigger point, too, because people do get frustrated by that sometimes, I think, and they have a preconceived notion about why out-of-town companies are working the storm or why there's recovery efforts and not a lot of maybe local vehicles there, but it's just a contracting issue and a numbers thing. An efficiency thing. So when it comes to really vetting those and saying, yeah, we've cut some folks loose right there on the spot, it's good for the public to know that these aren't just, the guys that grabbed the lowest bid of the contract. Right. These are folks that are really here and vetted, on their performance by the second almost.
Right. And it's not commonplace. Right. It happened, like I said, for us, it's the very first storm of this year where that did happen, and it's unfortunate. But again, you need to follow our protocols to keep not only your own folks safe, but other folks, again, down the line, because you have to be able to tell us that, all right, we're going to give you circuit 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's de-energized right now, so you need to go work on that line. We don't want you to start pre-staging. We don't want you to take shortcuts. We want you as a contractor, our own boots on the ground, to follow those protocols. The other thing that's interesting about when we call in people from other states, it's not that we don't have enough linemen of our own to do this, or even in the state of the Missouri. What we've found is that when we call in more boots on the ground, it speeds up our restoration efforts. It builds the morale of our own folks because, hey, they've already put in the first 8, 10, 12 hours. There is a time frame after, 14 or 16 hours where they, by our safety rules, have to go on break. Well, rather than them go on break and rest and not have anything happening in a community, that's why we bring in these extra workers, extra line workers to come in and start filling in. So when one group goes on rest, we have a whole army of new folks who are coming in, following our safety protocol, all in the name of, customer restoration at a much safer and quicker pace.
And I just want to address mutual assistance, because we bring in crews from other areas under our mutual assistance agreements. But guess what? Our crews go and they assist those areas if they have an emergency situation.
Paula, do you have a sledgehammer in your box? Is that what I'm looking at,
Well,
hon?
it's not a sledgehammer. It's just a hammer.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, man,
tools.
who didn't pay you today?
I have everything in my safety kit. You need tools, CJ.
Well, and see, that's what I think so fascinating about it, because the more I look at it, it's really common sense items. I mean, yeah, you're going to need, if something bad happens and God forbid you're trapped, you're going to need to find a way to get out of a situation pretty quick.
Exactly.
And it's not a matter of when, it might happen. It's just you better be prepared than not prepared, I got a question. Before I let you go, this is a very serious question. Can I get one war room photo so I can look like like I'm out there, really looking at just one war room invite, just so I can look like I'm really a part of something.
Of course.
Oh, boom, win. That's worth the whole darn year.
We're gonna make
That's
it happen.
worth. See,
I'll go out and get my PPE and come back in there. We'll get something during the commercial break.
I wanted the real thing. I want to have the jacket. I want to have it where it says like Daily Show instead of President of the United States.
We'll make it happen. We're gonna call you when we have to have one of those storm trailers back in town.
I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I will do it.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. We got some breaking news when we come back. Before I let you go, anything else we should fill our audience? Oh, wait. How can we find out more online?
Ameren.com. We remind our customers, go to Ameren.com. You'll get all of the information you need there. Also, sign up for alerts that will let you know, storms are pending. Emergency situation, whatever. We have alerts for everything. But again, mobile alerts, that is. But go to Ameren.com. Call 1-800-755-5000. If you have questions, you can speak with the customer service representative. Again, you can get any information you need from that number. But our Ameren.com website is golden. All information that you need is there.
Love it.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
We'll take there we go. Oh, and by the way, war room photo in. I think I'm going to have like a really good, like kind of really stern, stoic look. I don't know.
You need a goatee, though.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Breaking news alert, just real quick, because we have to get this out. The Edwardsville School Board last night voted to dismiss 16 employees just out of a meeting. So we'll have some coverage on that and then more on early voting numbers and all those important things for the 618.